Hey guys, what's up? I'm Zach. Welcome to Zach's Soapbox. This is the video for the week of Friday, April 17th, 2026. Hello everyone, I'm your host of this little shindig. I'm Zach. This is the thing we call Zach's Soapbox, where once a week I get on here, speak my mind, talk about whatever I want to talk about. Upload it and you guys give me feedback. Maybe you liked it, maybe you didn't. Feel free to like, comment, and share it down in the comments section. We do something different every week here at the Soapbox. You know, every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific. That's 1 p.m. Eastern. We release a new video here every single week. Um, and, you know, maybe you liked it, maybe you didn't. Maybe you get something. I hope you get something out of it. Maybe at least give you something to think about. You know what I mean? We do something different every week here at the Soapbox, so I hope you enjoy. Anyways, this week I want to talk about kind of like being a parent. You know, as many of you know, and I've mentioned before, I'm wheelchair bound and I have cerebral palsy. And I always thought, you know, I wanted to have children and get married, and I always thought by not having children and not living a normal life, I was like letting my disability win in some way. You know what I mean? And that sort of thing. And for years, oh, I could grow up one day and get married and have children and, you know, live a normal life, own a home, etc., etc. Then you wake up one day and you're almost 41 years old like now, and you still have never gotten married. You've been in a few relationships and had some girlfriends, but you've never had children, etc., etc. And you start going, well, maybe that's not in the cards for me. And to be honest, I almost feel like I'm one of them people that are more designed for like a cause or some sort of like a cause rather than like having children or, you know, like I'm one of them people that are like better off devoting your life to something rather than having children and wives and getting married and relationships and etc. etc. That sort of thing. But no, at one point I wanted to you know, have children, get married, be a parent. But in order to, you know, I always said one of the things I like about kids is that like you get to write on the slate of who they are. And there's nothing more powerful than writing on the slate of who a child is or could be, depending on who their influences are. And the thing is, I don't have to be a child's parent to be a positive influence in a child's life. I tend to like kids, you know. Like I said, I have actually cried and mourned this, that I realized I'll never have children. I'll never fall in love. I'll never live like a normal life, own a home, etc., etc., and just be a normal person, I guess. But I guess I'll be normal for whatever I am. And like I said, I'm one of the people that seem to be more suited for a cause rather than like a family, that sort of thing. But you know what kind of brings this on is I get this channel where it's called Nosy TV, and they show old like Steve Wilkos, and old Jerry Springer, and old Maury Povich. And remember on Maury Povich, they used to do those "You are the father, you're not the father," you know, where they bring on the girl that's been on there 6 times, and every time she's on there, she brings on 5 guys, and she swears it's one of these guys that's the kid's dad because he took her virginity and he's not the father. You know, and they're jumping up and down and they're all happy that they're not the father. And like, I told you, I told you. It's like, man, what some people wouldn't give to be a parent. Some people try to be a parent. And then here are these people celebrating the fact that they don't have to, you know, give responsibility and take responsibility to be in a child's life. Actually, to be honest, as I've said in previous videos, I think children are better than adults. And I like kids more than I like most adults. Stuff like that, to be honest with you. But I would also need a good partner. See, the thing with having a child is not only are you in that child's life till they're at least 18, but let's be honest, you're in that child's life for the rest of their life. You're also in the life of the person you choose to have a child with. So I would also need a good partner, which is hard to find. And let's be honest, most women and most people, regardless of what they say, are not going to choose someone who's disabled. Let's just be honest here. You know what I mean? Some people aren't going to choose, you know, somebody who's in a wheelchair. They're just not going to do it. Let's just cut the shit. Regardless of what people say, you know, we all know that most people would never choose someone like that. And if they did, it's because, oh, I was with him before and then he got injured. Well, that's different. You know what I mean? Like, convincing people that you can get in a car by yourself or you can live on your own. It's like, of course I can live on my own. I'm fucking 40 years old. You want to tell me in my 40 years of life, I've never transferred into a fucking car or into a vehicle, etc., etc. You know what I mean? Um, Getting a little off topic a little bit, but I always, wanted to be a parent, wanted to be, but it's just not in the cards for me. And it's kind of sad because I feel like I have a lot more love and give in my heart than most people, some people who are parents. Like I always felt like my parent, she's gone. My mother's gone now, but both of my parents are gone. But I didn't really know my dad. I didn't meet him until I was 15. He died when I was 17. And then my mom, I always felt like my mom was almost too selfish to have children. Like she had 4 kids, but she was very neglectful. She always chose her men over her children, her drugs over her children, her partying over her children, her lifestyle over her children. So I always kind of grew up kind of feeling inadequate. And I always thought by being I don't know, maybe it's like a psychological thing. By being a parent or being involved in a child's life, I can correct the mistakes or give the love and the affection that I never got. Like because I was neglected and stuff, that maybe if I had a kid of my own, I would be able to give that love and affection and attention that I never really got. And that sort of thing. But you can't use children to correct mistakes and heal your own trauma either, But maybe I should just do some volunteering with children at like a school or something, because I often, like I said, I feel like I have too much to give and too much to offer than to just be fucking sitting here in this little stupid place with, all this crap. But I, it's the, but then would I even be a good parent? Am I just born bad or am I damaged good? I think sometimes I'm too damaged to really be a parent. I have too much personal baggage because you don't want to force that onto a child. You know what I mean? If you're not healed yourself, you can't heal anyone else. So maybe it'd be a good thing if I didn't have children because I myself have too much baggage to really, but then I know that I have a lot of love in my heart and love to give. You know what I mean? So it's like so many children kind of grow up neglected and abused and hungry. Whereas with me, I'd give the last breath of my body to protect someone I loved and I cared about. And it's just, I don't know. I just feel it'll probably never happen for me because if it was going to, it would have. But I'm just kind of making this up as I go. But I just feel like maybe I'm depriving the world of something by not having children. But in a way, it's probably a good thing that I don't have children because I have too much baggage and there's too much, you know what I mean? Like I said, you can't heal your own trauma by, oh, let's have a kid so I can love and care for it like I never was cared for and loved. Not that nobody didn't love me, not that my grandmother didn't love me, not that, whoever, aunt, uncle, so-and-so didn't love you. And I'm sure on some way, in some level, mom loved you in her own way. But the truth is, mom was never there. You know what I mean? And then I never got to do the playing grab ass in the yard where we're playing catch with mom and dad so-and-so and father figure such and such. I never had that. So then it probably wouldn't be a good idea for me to have children when I know what love is, but I never got to play catch with dad. I never got to go hunting with dad and we got our shotguns and it took me hunting or snipe hunting or shit like that. So I probably wouldn't be a good parent anyway. And I'm good with kids when they're real little, but then as soon as they grow up and start kind of asking questions, you know what I mean? And then me being a daddy, being a wheelchair bound dad, I would be different than all the other kids at school's daddies too, and always having to explain that. Or let's say a little kid goes running, and they got scissors in their hands, and they know that because of dad's limitations, he can't chase. then they start taking advantage. So it's probably a good thing I'm not a parent in hindsight. And again, I've mourned this, I've cried over this. But I also feel like, the heart, it has no ears to hear and no eyes to see. But nobody ever calls the heart disabled. And I also feel like you don't need legs or a fucking perfect body to be a parent. You just need the love, then the time to give the affection and teach the lessons and learn the lessons and things like that. So that's just some thoughts on me being a parent. I probably wouldn't be a very good one. I mean, Christ, I barely keep in contact with the nieces I do have. But then again, Zachary, phones work both ways. Nobody's calling you either. So don't feel too bad about that. But I don't know, man. It's just some random dribble I had. All right, guys. Take care. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you next time.